early.
It's,
Early.
I'm busy sending my stuff here.
Okay, we're on now.
Call this meeting to order. Please join me in the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the
flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please join Commissioner Stacy in her last prayer.
I hope not.
And you can all join me if you will. Our Father, who art in heaven,
Hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever.
All right, roll call.
Commissioner Thomas?
Here.
Commissioner Kirschner?
Here.
Commissioner Stacy? Here.
Minutes, I'll accept a motion to approve the digital audio video recording of the previous board session from Thursday, July 11th.
So. Second.
We have a move and a second. Roll call.
Commissioner Stacy?
Yes.
Commissioner Mike?
Commissioner Mike. President today. It's not that tough a job. You say a name and they say yes. Yeah.
Commissioner Thomas?
Sure. Okay, there's going to be a number of adjustments as we go through, but we're honored to have Representative Reineke in the House today, and he's been busy working on a budget for us, so I'm going to give him a few moments to start out to tell us what's going on in Columbus.
Great. Well,
thanks for joining
yes,
us.
Thank you for having me this morning. I'd like to congratulate you on your last meeting. Thank you for all your years of service. You've done a great job for the community. I appreciate it personally. And thank you for having me this morning. Everybody that's here this morning, we're effectively have a new state budget. So I'm really happy to say we left the State House last night at 9 o'clock. And I think there's a lot of really good things for all of us. So I just wanted to take a few minutes. Saw Mike for breakfast. He said, come on down and tell us about it. So here I am. So the most important thing was there's just meaningful tax relief for everybody. There was ongoing existing law for the highest for incomes, and those business taxes have been left in place where they're able to continue making our good economy go. The good part is we have roughly $1 billion in surplus because of all of the good things that have been happening. And so we want to continue this. We didn't want to stifle it and change it. We've also been able to eliminate 2 of the lower tax brackets. So in this effort to continue to try to eliminate income tax, we are on our way there. Now I have to say, everything is predecessed by the idea that the governor could still veto things, well, by line item, and I don't know what he's up to today, so that's what he's doing. Record funding for schools, we're able to increase across the board roughly about 4%, which is meaningful versus a tax cut. We're continuing to work on the schools. There's a lot of things going on. New issues with testing, trying to eliminate some of the testing. Everybody's familiar with the testing and how that's become overburdensome. And one of the particular areas that I've been working on is workforce. And roughly 1/3 of our kids are falling through the cracks, so we're trying to work with them to make student purpose important. And we have all these middle class jobs that we need to fill and can't fill, so we're going to continue to work on that. So the education piece is ongoing. We have got one of the best directors in Ohio as far as the Adams Board with Murcha. He really does a wonderful job at the state level. He does a wonderful job at our local level. We've increased funding for kinship care, foster care. Those are areas that have needed to be changed and redeveloped, and happy to say I think we're on a good path for that. So Murch is going to handle all that issue for us. But no, I'm just teasing him, but he does a great job, and those are social issues that we have to fix, or at least help with all of the drug opioid issues going on through the state. There are other education things, one being that computer coding is now going to be considered as a foreign language. You know, with coding and everything that gaming, all of the new things that are important, robotics in the education world, this just fits up with today's style. The higher education, There is more money being shifted to that through the Ohio College Opportunity Grants, which will help both of our local university, 3 of our local universities, and that's a good program. The Ohio Technical Colleges, as I mentioned, with jobs and trying to work with the workforce, we're increasing the opportunity for the community colleges to be involved with apprenticeships, and one of the goals that the Workforce Board, of which I'm a member of, came up with is that by the year 2025, we want 65% of our kids to have some kind of a college certificate, or a certificate, an apprenticeship, or some kind of a stackable stair-step credentialing. So we believe that that's important for this new knowledge economy, not knowing 10 years what a lot of our jobs are going to look for. We've got to encourage our kids to learn how to critically think, which is what we're all doing this morning. We've got to learn how to do that to adapt to the new knowledge economy. As I mentioned, the foster care is a huge, we're trying to eliminate some of those barriers, make it easier for people to do that. Another area that's been big, and most everybody probably has felt the effects of pharmaceutical issues and costs with drugs. We have tried to step in with an intermediary in the state through the Medicaid department and have one intermediary to lower costs, to make it easier for people to, in our rural economies, a lot of the areas may only have one pharmacy that can dispense some specific drug. And so that's been a barrier across the state, so we're trying to eliminate those types of things, at the same time keeping the cost very low. Trying to work with surprise billings, that the different, that you could get with a medical treatment or that type of thing, and Medicaid managed care. So all of those things that we really, you don't see on the front page of the paper, but affect a lot of the costs in the state. Medicaid's like the largest behind education. The 2 largest things are education and medication. So we try to work on those. Also dealing with telemedicine, making it easier for people to be able to be diagnosed over the phone. There's a lot of, with computers, all of the laws still aren't up to date with on how we adapt all those things. The other thing that's important is that we've been able to, David Zach's here, the Rural Industrial Park Loan, we've been able to shift some money from standing funds over to those to make it easier for people who want to do projects in smaller communities. It's designed for rural America. This may sound strange, but Ohio's got 88 counties. You know what we've got? We've got flat land where we can put factories. Like in rural America, southern Ohio in the hills, they don't have any flat land to put factories. I never thought of it that way, but that's kind of an interesting thing. So, also, library funding was able to be increased a little bit, but we're encouraging our citizens to use our libraries for the computers, for access to jobs and family services, for job applications and those types of things, plus whatever thing. Rural America, we still don't have internet everywhere, so the libraries are a good spot for that to be occurring. The legal age for tobacco increases from 18 to 21. Hopefully nobody has a problem with that, but it's a health and safety issue. And also working with county fairs to provide $4.7 million for a facilities grant program. So I know different people call, or different areas of the state, they have different, want to do a different barn or something, so trying to make it more accessible for funding for that. And $25 million for state parks that had been originally requested by the governor. One of the big things is the primary election date next year has been moved from March 10th to March 17th. All the Irish people in the state are upset, but it has to do with the national thing on if the primary is before a date or after a date, and if Ohio votes, all of the electoral votes will go to the candidate that had the majority. Where if it was before that date, it breaks it down like 40%, 60%. Does that make sense? But that's kind of the deal on that. And those were the highlights. I didn't want to take a lot of time, but I just wanted to explain that. Overall, I'm happy with the budget. It's $69.8 billion. It's huge. It's a huge amount of money. Ohio has a balanced budget. You may not like how we balanced it, but it's a balanced budget, not like the federal government. So at the end of the year, this past year, our year runs from July 1st of 2019 through June 30th of 2021. So we're a week late, but we're in good shape. And we had $1 billion carryover. So that's that's the good part. So we'll continue to try to run it efficiently. I feel like I represent the district well with the issues that are at hand and get communication from commissioners and the mayor and David and Emercha and a lot of other people in the room and other elected officials. So with that, thank you very much for allowing me to have this time.
Thank you.
Indigent healthcare, how
And
could I forget that one?
Local funds.
Indigent healthcare, and give you the exact number. This has been important. This is where the counties have state responsibility for covering that. And just give me a second, I'll find the exact dollar. This is good for the county government. Hi, Tony. Hi, Bill. $2 million. Oh, here we go. The Indigent Defense County reimbursement funds will be $125.8 million in fiscal year '20 and $163 in fiscal year '21. So it's a huge assistance to the local county government funding. And if the thresholds are met, then it breaks down percentage. So that's kind of the general dollar amount. The specifics based on the specifics are based on county need and populations, and of course all of our counties are different populations.
Thank you very much.
Any other?
No, I think that's good.
Yeah,
That's
so
good.
those are the important
You
things.
know,
So we're
we got a
trying
little-
to.
We got a little bump in local
Yeah.
area
From
funding.
the deficits in 2008 and 2009, where the government had to slash everything and the local governments were hit the hardest, we've tried to recoup a lot of that back through. The best thing I can say, in being in business myself, is we've been able to generate funding through sales of products that generates our county income, or our county sales tax, and that's what keeps us going. It's what keeps the state going. So as an offset to that, we're trying to reduce income taxes, which we successfully have done with the lower two brackets in this next state budget.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great, thank you, appreciate it, good to see everybody.
Thank you.
All right, waiting in the green room is our statesman, Judge Meyer. So we have all kinds of dignitaries here today.
So I'm just looking to see where we slide in back there.
Judge, you are on.
I'm on. I'm on. Well, let me just lay out some stuff here. Thank you for the opportunity to come talk to you guys. It's been an amazing couple of years for the court. We submitted our annual report back in June. It's available online for you guys and of course the public to look at. It's SenecaJPCourt.com is our website, so you can come take a look at that. I decided in lieu of doing a PowerPoint presentation and having you guys read what's already been presented to you, and as a judge, I feel like I can do what I want to do.
We run into that a lot.
I decided to call an audible, and today's theme is going to be to give thanks, because I'm really appreciative. And I guess as I had this walk over here, as I walked out of our great new facility that we have and walked past our old facility, again filled me with a spirit of thanks. And I guess it starts with the commissioners. We appreciate, my staff and I appreciate the support you guys have given us over my pushing 11 years now. Without your support, we couldn't do what we do, and without your support, we wouldn't be in the amazing facility that we're in. And of course, you guys have done a tour of that, and you've been in our old facility, and it's night and day, and it's allowing us to go and do. It's also eliminated any excuses we might have, in terms of not going and doing relative to our space. And so, I've been to judges' conferences over the course of my 11 years and talked to other judges, and they've shared with me their experiences about their commissioners and the relationship that they have with their commissioners. And I realize I'm truly lucky that I, at any time, can pick up the phone and call each and every one of you. And more importantly, each and every one of you actually answers the phone and talks to me about our concerns. So again, thank you for what you guys have done for us, and thank you for your support going forward. Next on my thank you hit parade, Bill Reinecke, who just left. another guy who's been a tremendous help to the court. We've had issues over the years relative to law changes, and he's a guy who can pick up the phone and he answers it. And if he can't answer it, he calls me back and he meets with us. And he's truly vested and invested in this county. And I can just say, as a judge, as a public official, again, that doesn't happen everywhere. And talking with my colleagues around the state, that doesn't always happen. And so, again, lucky to have that. And if Bill was here, I would, again, fist bump whatever Bill does. Next on my thanks parade, Sheriff Huckleberry, tremendous partner for us. Partner for us for security. Of course, he's required to give us security, but he doesn't have to do it in a nice way that he does and provide the great support that he does and be responsive to our phone calls and take care of us. We have lots of security needs. It's easier now with our new building. We have a lot more, I'm a lot more secure than I used to be, and so we give thanks for that. Bill is also, whether you realize it or not, he's partially responsible for that splash park over there, and let me tell you why. Back when the commissioners were able to unload the building where our records were in, right, the old commissioners building, we had a problem. We woke up and I talked to Teresa, like, we have all these records in this building. How on earth are we going to get these out of here in time to facilitate this great project that was on the cusp of happening? And Bill and his staff came to the rescue for us. He and his staff, along with some of the work from our inmates out there, helped move a mountain of paper out to the old youth center. And so without him, we couldn't have got it done. So again, big thanks to Bill. Bill's another one of those guys that will take my call when I call. So I appreciate that. Kathy Oliver, where are you sitting at? There, right there. We have strategic partners in the court system. Obviously, our court's responsible for dealing with abuse, neglect, and dependent kids. We work with and deal with some of the most difficult things to deal with in our county. And she has been another great partner of the court. She's someone that I can call, that does take my call, will meet with me, and along with her staff attorneys, Victor Perez, Rebecca Schreiner, tremendous assets to the court. They're the behind-the-scenes people that do all the work that ends up in front of me. So I thank you for your efforts and thank you for what you do for the county. Tracy Crest isn't here with us. She's our CASA director. She, another great partner of the court, runs our CASA program, provides volunteers to provide, recommendations to the court, what they think the court should do. They help protect kids, and she does a great job helping us and the court system. I'm glad Mirch is here, all right? He is huge, all right? And for those who don't know, he's not the best kept secret anymore, because I think a lot of people were talking about the great work that he and his organization is doing with Robin out there. We live in a world where many times when we call people with our problems, they'll say things like, that's not our problem. And Mircha and his staff consistently say, how can we help? They can't always help us, but they always ask, how can we help, and who can we call, and do we have resources, and what can we do? And he's been instrumental in many things. Instrumental in helping us get our family intervention court off the ground years ago. Their organization helped us with funding with that. He's instrumental in helping us get funding for our youth center to provide behavioral health services directly to kids out there, helping us with that. His staff is instrumental in the behind-the-scenes work in helping us get our AOT program, Assisted Outpatient Treatment. That's on the probate side of the house for folks that have mental health issues that we're trying to provide additional assistance for in our county. And that's a program you'll hear more about next year. But he and his staff are helping us trying to get that off the ground. And so again, as a judge, a lot of times you run into roadblocks and people don't always take our calls. He's amazing, all right? So no longer the best kept secret in Seneca County, right there. Alan Irie. Since 1987, we have had an indigent guardianship program, and this program is amazing. The program provides guardianship services for people who can't afford it, who desperately need it. And since 1987, they've provided the funds provided over $1.1 million funding to our program to help us do that. And it's for those who don't know, Alan Irie was a gentleman who passed away years ago, left some money. That money's been invested. There's a local advisory committee that makes recommendations, and we get every year to make application for those funds. And so again, great partner for us, help us to provide that type of service for our community. Heidelberg University. for another great partner, I wish they were here, if I could thank them. We have our PACE program, which is our tutoring program for kids, at-risk kids. They partner our kids with students and faculty at Heidelberg to provide tutoring services. And so again, couldn't do it without them as well. We have the Ohio State Extension Office that helps us with the car teams program. Most people associate what I do with traffic. It seems like a lot of people's contact with our court is, my kid had a speeding ticket. And so this should resonate with most people in the room. So all of our first-time traffic offenders typically go through the car teams program. It's a program that's put on by 4-H volunteers, and it's a great program, and they help us with that as well. I want to thank our township trustees. And I just think, why township trustees? They help us by providing community service opportunities for kids, right? Kids that are maybe need that lesson of humility, lesson of giving back to their community. They help us by giving us access to their roads to pick up their garbage. And so, again, over the years, they've been a great asset, a great support of us. Mr. Jarrett is Jim Jarrett, for those of you who know him. He's our Director of Community Outreach. Mr. Jarrett also does community service and restitution. So with their help as well, we have a program where kids, sometimes when they commit crimes, they victimize people, all right? And the problem with restitution orders for juveniles is what? They typically don't have money, right? And so with our program that's coordinated by Ms. Kopp back there with our funds, Mr. Jarrett takes them out to work and they can earn money at the rate of minimum wage towards paying back victims. And so again, that ties into our township trustees and Teresa and Mr. Jarrett. So thank you all of us. I want to thank our local school districts. We are blessed to have some great administrators. I think we have Mr. Sprang over in Fostoria, Mr. Barber here at Tiffin City Schools, and all of our local and county school administrators and teachers. We have great relationships. It's been fantastic as a judge when I'm in court, the feedback that we get from our local schools and working with them and in partnership to get kids back on track. Most of our at-risk kids, most of the kids that come before me, this might surprise you, I don't get too many 4.0s that walk in my door, okay? And so usually there's academic deficiencies, and these school districts have been amazing to work with. So a shout out to our local school districts for their help. Law enforcement, all right? These are the guys, when things go bump in the night, 2 in the morning, that are out there taking those calls. Whether it be Tiffin PD, whether it be our Sheriff's Department, Fostoria, or our local burgs, they have all been amazing for us to work with over the last 10, 11 years. You know, and working with my probation department, with my staff. Again, it's a great partnership that we have, and they should be certainly commended. Get towards the end of my list here, I promise you. Our local attorneys. Now, it's weird to thank attorneys. People don't like to thank attorneys for anything, right? They're usually the butt of jokes, right? You know, how many attorneys does it take to whatever? But this is a real thing. For our court system to work, we need them. We need court-appointed counsel. We don't have a public defender's office. But you know, kids have the right to have court-appointed counsel. Adults in our department cases need counsel. And we need real live bodies to fill those positions. It's not glamorous. This isn't LA Law from back in the 80s, right? Where they're all driving Maseratis and making millions of dollars. These are folks that come to work for sometimes $50 an hour, $60 an hour. That sounds like a lot. When the going rate's over $200 an hour in private practice, these folks sacrifice. And so they have to fill valuable roles. There's some cases with our department, we have 4, 5, 6 attorneys involved. They have to fill those spots. And they fill those spots, they fill spots, guardian ad litem spots for us. And so I want to publicly thank the local bar for filling those spots for us and doing a great job for the work that we do. I guess I want to thank my staff. I've got some great people in the back. And I have rose-tinted glasses. I acknowledge that I have the best staff in the state of Ohio. And so they allow me to be the best judge that I can be. For those who don't know our operations very well, again, I refer you to our report, but we've got over 50 employees. We have a budget that gets close to $2.5 million. Lots of funds, lots of things. And if I had to administer all of the things to make that happen, I wouldn't have the time to be taking the time on the cases that those cases deserve. And so, you know, Teresa Kopp in the back, my court administrator, she's kind of the head of the gang there. She is the best court administrator in the state of Ohio, and she helps me to be able to be the best judge that I can be, and I thank you. And I could go down the list. Unfortunately, you probably don't hear me talk about all 50 of the 55 of the employees here. But again, they are great and they are amazing. Finally, the last thanks, people of Seneca County. Thank you. Thank you for the chance to be your judge. Thank you for the chance to, I guess this is my dream job. People ask me, well, what are you going to do next? This is next. This is me. This is what I want to do. This is, with all due respect to the other judge in the county, this is the most important judgeship in Seneca County. This judgeship has the opportunity to affect more people at a time of need than any other judgeship in the state of Ohio, or in this county, I should say. So, again, apologies to Judge Rep, Judge Shuff, and Judge Cowboy. You guys have great gigs, I get it, but this is the best gig. So, again, thank you all of you for the opportunity to serve, and again, I invite you to check out our website, check out that report. Again, it gives a great summary of what happened in 2018. If you have questions, give us a call. I'm happy to show you our new dig. So with that, I open up to the commissioners and the public for any questions you might have about our operations.
I'd just like to return the thanks. I mean, it's a pleasure working with you and your staff. Always a gentleman and a statesman, and I can't appreciate you enough.
All right, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Okay. All righty. Thank you all.
You guys don't need to stay.
Yeah, I have to get back to work.
You guys can go do that super important job. That's
right.
You got the best thing. Back to work. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, much appreciated.
Thank you. Thanks.
Next in the green room is the governor's office. Wow. This is going to go down in history as celebrity-filled.
Well, and I certainly apologize for crashing the party. My plan was to be here early. And when I first Googled from Bowling Green to here, it took me to a street in Gibsonburg, and I didn't even see it. So sometimes that happened. All right.
Same but
okay.
different.
So then I Googled again, and it took me out to New Mexico, and I thought, I better look this up. So then I go to the new building, because I thought you all, for building that beautiful new building over there, would have your offices.
Wow, that would make sense.
But little did I know, I walked in there and go, well, the commissioner's on there. I said, oh great, now I have to deal with these one-way streets, and I don't.
You're right on time, so don't.
So the lesson is come more often.
Well, I will, and I'll tell you something else. I went down some short one-way streets.
The short ones don't count.
Because I didn't want to do that. And Commissioner Stacy, I'm here for your special day today. So if you'd like to come up here, you have to come up here for front and center. I know this is a bittersweet day for you, but I wanted to be here and give you some support and thank you for what you've done for your county, for your state. And I have a formal proclamation from the governor's office, lieutenant governor's office for Commissioner Stacy. And I'll go ahead and read. It's formal, so I think I should read it as is. You want me to have lip?
Whatever works for you.
She's so good. She's so easy, right? And in the name and by the authority of the state of Ohio, Mike DeWine and John Houston, Governor and Lieutenant Governor Ohio, do hereby officially recognize Holly Stacy for your service as Seneca County Commissioner. On behalf of the state of Ohio, we join with your colleagues in congratulating you on your years of service as Seneca County Commissioner. Throughout your 6.5 years, you have been a tremendous asset to your office, to your colleagues, and you've had the opportunity to work beside you. And to the citizens of Seneca County, thank you for your dedication on this 18th day of July 2019. Mike DeWine, Governor, John Houston, Lieutenant Governor. Congratulations.
I'm touched it. We've got to finish it.
So I think that was my cue to exit. Thank you all, good to see you.
Thank you, Lou.
and-
Thank
And
you.
try and stay cool here the next couple of days.
Try to obey all traffic laws on the way out.
You know how my day started? I'm going down 236, and at the fire station on 236 in Finley, the newest one, there's sometimes law enforcement sitting there, and I'm talking on the phone, and sometimes I drive as fast as I talk. So I go, oh my gosh, there was a state patrol. So I looked down, I was going 50. So I pulled over to the right lane just to get ready to be stopped, because I knew, and I think, so maybe that's a lesson learned. If you know you're guilty, act like you're guilty, don't stop.
Yeah. Legal staff is laughing.
Quick, somebody get her license now.
Kathy, would you like to come up and talk with us?
Sure, and I'm gonna bring Beth Ann Way up with me, my
Great.
business administrator. Well, I'd like to keep the theme going. The judge and I had the same idea. I just want to say thanks to the board for all you do for us. And it's a pleasure to work in Seneca County as we're driving in this morning, and it's sunny, and I know it's gonna be really hot. But we get the chance to work with so many people, and it really is great. I talk to my counterparts as well. And it doesn't always work that way in every county, so I feel fortunate to work in Seneca, and the judges and CASA and Family and Children and schools and so many partners, the sheriff, Crossway. Grateful for you all. And so we are here to talk about kids today and some funding for child placement. Okay, and the first thing I'm going to give you is kind of like a statewide thing. I meant to drop this off to Stacy the minute I got it because it was so good. So this is a little document about what's going on in Ohio. And one of the sad things that's going on in Ohio, and it's in this first page right here, is that our workers are now suffering from PTSD because of the scenes that they're seeing at homes when we're out protecting children. So it's very difficult work and hard, and we're trying to do a good job, and I believe we are. We have a great staff, and you guys know we have a great performance report from the last year. So I just wanted to provide that to the board. And just on that larger level as well, this is a document that comes out every year. And I know sometimes you all have questions about what's that like in another county, or how many kids maybe are in here in another county. This is a snapshot in time of what's going on across the state of Ohio, every county. So this will give you a little comparative information as well, and I thought that would be good for you to have. And then we're going to dive in. Beth prepared this lovely little report for you. It is the same report we talked with you about before, but we've updated the information. So we are protecting kids as we are charged with doing, and adults, but we're here to talk about kids. And so that includes, you know, the courts. We're doing some temporary custody. We're doing placement with kin. Sometimes we're adopting kids when they can't be reunified with the family. But our first goal is to reunify with the family if that's possible and safe for the child. So then I think on the second page here is what you're going to see is our current little snapshot of, Beth put on here for you, 16, 17, and 18, what it looks like. And as I said last time, there's more kids in kin because that is better for kids. It's with someone they know. It's less trauma to the kid. And sometimes that's just not possible, and they come into foster care or residential care because of their needs. So that kind of gives you a little information about that. And the next page, again, is kind of giving you a little bit more information. Is that local foster homes? Is that a network home? Is that a residential home? That's a little breakdown on the type of placement we're experiencing. And then I'm going to let Beth talk about the money because she's the expert on that. And this kind of gives you a history of our placement costs. You want to talk about that, Beth?
Yeah, the slide that says history of placement costs is just that. And I went back to 2011 just to show you kind of our trend. We were doing really well. We were on a downward trend from 2011 to 2016. You can see back when I started, back when the dinosaurs were still roaming the earth, every year we had about $1 million worth of placement costs. And then it started to drop. And you can see we hit a low in 2016 of $217,000. That was mainly just a drop in the kids in care, not a drop in the rates of the placements, but it was just a drop in the kids in care, and some of that was rules. A lot of it was because of our great staff and the judge and that kind of thing. So, and then that trend started to dip upward quickly, as you can see. And in 2018, we were at about $732,000 in placement costs. And this year, I have it on a later slide, but this year we're looking at, right now we're trending at over $1 million in placement costs, just slightly. So we have sent a few kids home in the recent weeks, so hopefully we won't hit that $1 million number, but that's where we're headed this year, which is kind of why we're here.
Exactly.
And then the next one is just kind of a breakdown of funding. So we do receive federal funds, as you know, and state funds. So we've broken down the portion in 2018 that was federal, state, and local. In that book that Kathy brought along, if you look at that, those numbers will look different. They use a bit of a different time frame than what we're showing here, so those percentages will look a little different. But that's where we were in 2018. And that number will look a little different for 2019.
Well, my additional, or my mathematical mind, federal, state, and local don't add up to 732. That they add up to a much bigger number than that.
And that's because there's adoptive placement costs in there.
So there's some things that are included.
And there's,
in it.
yes, it's
Okay.
not, that's more than just placement, foster care placement, yeah.
I was trying to figure how much percentage of the $1 million are we have to come up with.
Right,
So,
right. Yeah,
okay.
there's more that goes into that number than just foster care placement, but that's the biggest share of our
Sure.
expenditures that we're talking about today is the foster care placement.
And if I could just interrupt for a minute, one of the things I forgot to say as Beth's talking about why, as you see these numbers increase, that's really when the opiate epidemic for us really started affecting families. And, you know, we've checked with Jeff from time to time, and I would say generally we run about 90 to 95% of the cases are involved in some sort of substance use in the family. So that's why the sharp uptick. And you'll see that in the big book as well. That's happening all across Ohio at different times, depending on, you know, were you in the corridor of where things were happening with pill mills or not, and it took us a little longer, but we're seeing that as well, so.
And the next couple slides are just additional information. So this next slide shows the average per diem per child of what we had in care in 2018. And those numbers at the bottom are the age of the child. So typically what we see is the younger the child, the less expensive the placement, and the older the child, normally they have a few more issues, and so they get a little more expensive. So I was just showing you that on some of those children, you're seeing like the 16, 17-year-olds, we're up over $120,000 a year for just one child in placement. So if that's why we see such a fluctuation from month to month sometimes, because it depends on, you know, what children we have in care that particular month and their needs and the expense of the particular placement that they require.
That's not kinship, that's just foster.
That's just foster care, correct. Kinship is different and not included in these numbers, because we don't, the agency doesn't play for kinship, that goes through the state.
Okay, I got you.
And then also adoption assistance, which I mentioned earlier. We pay out for adoption assistance for approximately about 59 kids right now. And so in 2018, we paid $320,000 for 55 kids, and that shows the breakdown of that as well, as far as federal, state, and local.
That's a requirement as well.
And so this kind of the second to last slide shows a county comparison. So what the first box on that side is, we didn't put county names on here, but we put the size of the county over on that left-hand side. So if they're a small or a medium county, and the amount of local funding that they received in 2018, because there was a survey that went around that kind of showed what a fair amount of counties received. And then by comparison, the box to the right where it says SCDJFS, that's the amount that our agency has requested and received from the county commissioners in those given years. So you can see in the last 4 years, we've really only asked for and received $150,000 of county money. And that's, you know, because of the expenses were low and we had a good cash balance for a good long time. But now that's kind of, the fun is kind of over on that apparently, so. Did you want to take this one?
Sure. So our request is $250,000. As Beth said, we had a balance we were working on. Now I think that's around 300-ish. And not sure we're gonna make it through the year with the current balance that we have. So that's our request. And every board is different, so just to give you a little history, you saw the numbers. So some boards just wanted us to come and request when we needed it. Some preferred to kind of front load that and give us a balance to work off of. Every board's different. So that's kind of where we are on that. We think if everything holds true, we'll need about $500,000 for next year. Now, things can change. If I could predict this, I might be a rich person, I don't know, but I'm not, and it's just, you can't predict when these things are gonna happen. But we just wanna be really upfront with you about keeping you guys informed. Every month I send Stacy the update that Beth provides me about what's going on with the costs, because we don't wanna surprise you by that. So that would be our request for the rest of 2019. What kind of questions do you have for us, if any?
We get it. We know you're doing a great job. I mean, Judge Meyer says he has the best staff, but we know we do definitively because you got Executive Director of the Year last year, so we can definitively say we have the best staff in Ohio. But, you know, this is a headwind that we're facing on the budget side, and so we'll have to address it. We've got other headwinds as well, so, you know, we appreciate you managing that cost the best possible for all taxpayers, but we know we have to meet those obligations.
Well, this is the first discussion in 4 years, 5 years I've had about increasing it, right? And I've talked to fellow commissioners around the counties, and that's been a real concern of theirs over a number of years, taking major portions of budgets in a lot of counties similar to our size. So, thank you for the efficiencies that we had up to this point. Hope we can figure out a way to be that efficient into the future. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, we do have an agenda. Good deal. County Administrator report.
The only thing I have, just wanted to remind everybody that Wednesday is our board meeting next week at 10 o'clock instead of on Thursday, so
Okay.
I just wanted to remind everybody of that. And I don't have any other reports today.
Okay. Commissioner reports, Mr. Kirchner.
Well, Bill gave us a great summary of the budget, right? I also sat in hearings yesterday for Senate Bill 6, along with some other folks from, Senate Bill 6 did not get passed. It was into the night, and they thought they had enough votes but didn't get it done. So that will reemerge again. But Bill, I just got to say that the Representative Reineke is so well respected down in Columbus, you know. He was part of the budget hearings for the Senate. All the senators had a conversation with him. We're lucky to be able to have a guy who has got such a good network for us in Seneca County. So Senate Bill 6 is still pending, and we'll see what happens with that.
Commissioner Stacy?
I have no report.
No report at this time, okay. I have one thing, and I had a meeting with Pat Demonte from United Way, and our participation at the county for automatic deduct for payroll deductions has dipped below our threshold again, and so we need to have a, we need to try to get our participation up. So, if it's okay with y'all, I want to work with Jimmy, maybe get some publicity about how we can do that. I don't want to ask the auditor staff to continue payroll deduction when it's below the threshold, and it's significantly below the threshold.
Yeah.
I think the participation may be there, but the auto withdrawal is not. So we need to just do some public relations around getting county employees to participate in the United Way. And so, you know, if you have any thoughts on that.
Yeah, we've worked with a lot of years. Is there a chairman for the county, for government employees?
Not that I'm aware of.
Typically, there is a.
Tasha is.
Tasha. I think it might be nice to have her included in the memo because she is the chair. You know, work with Jimmy with that.
So we're looking at maybe creating some incentives. You know, I asked, you know, Julie came up with maybe a day off or something, and if you give over $5 a pay or something, and maybe some other gimmicky things like dunk tank. One of the ideas that came up was shaving a commissioner's head, and so rock, scissors, and
Wouldn't take long.
You're getting out. Just
I'm going.
At least we just did purple hair.
Yeah, Jeremy hair.
Yeah.
So, anyways, that's all I had. Okay, old business.
Old business. Museum, Mike, you wanna?
Sure. We met yesterday and we've been talking about a operating agreement. We are, the only major change is that both the foundation and the Historical Society are still participating to the tune this year of $2,000 each in operating the museum. And the other change is that this contract is only for 1 year, so we can kind of review things as we go forward. So we're funding, we, being the county, are funding them at the same level we have. They, being the foundation and the society, are funding at a level of $2,000 apiece. Negotiated contract, but I would move that we approve it.
So we have, I'll second. Discussion, we have a recommendation from the board
Right.
to accept this proposal.
That's correct.
So we put in place an advisory board, and they have been managing the museum operations for the past my whole term, 2 years.
Right. That's
And so, you know, things are much better than they were previously, and we're on the right path, and this is just a modification, so.
I think the only other change that they made yesterday that's on the new one is they used to have Tanya report both to the county administrator and to the museum advisory board, and they felt that it was necessary to take out the museum advisory board and just report to the county administrator. I think they did that for just a personnel.
Well, it's just a clarity thing. I wanted to be very clear that the appraisals and the employee reviews will be done by the county administrator and not them.
I think she still needs to keep the advisory board updated. She needs to be involved, and so I think
She
that's.
still serves as basically the advisor, the, you know, officer in charge to that board,
Yeah,
right?
that's
And-
right.
Yeah, so there's no changes there, so.
And I want to thank all the people who have volunteered to be on that board, and Mike and Holly for leading us through that reorganization. It's come a long way. So we have a motion by Mike, second by Shane, roll call.
Commissioner Stacy?
Yes.
Commissioner Kirschner?
Yes.
Commissioner Tucker?
Yes.
Good job.
She's trainable. Mary, don't sit down. Yeah, we're ready for you.
Okay, hi.
Look at this, we run this thing like
Look at that.
the trains in Germany. You ready? No, come on up here and it's time for you to go ahead and,
Unless she's got other people coming.
yeah, but.
Just me.
Okay.
You're stuck
It's
with
not
this
11
thing.
yet.
Okay, this is where I'm supposed to be?
Sure.
Wow. Hi, everyone. I'm Mary Habig. I'm the Executive Director for Seneca Crawford Area Transportation. Most people know us as SCAT, the public transit agency here for Seneca and in Crawford County. 2017, we expanded our service to include Crawford County by the request of ODOT. So I'm here to ask for, every 3 years, we get a redesignation letter from our commissioners to redesignate the funds that ODOT sends down through the federal government, through ODOT to us. And so we're on our third year to ask that they would, if they're satisfied with our service, if we can continue the service for Seneca, and I will go this afternoon to ask the Crawford County Commissioners. But I want to give you an update what we did last year, because I can't give you anything what we're doing this year. But last year, we provided a total, both counties, 114,444 trips. In Seneca County, it was over 91,000 trips.
Wow.
Which was a 33% increase from 2017 to 18. We're seeing a different generation using our service. It used to be years ago for the elderly and those with disabilities. We're now seeing middle-aged, younger groups using us to go to work, which is a really good thing to see. Of course, we do the medical trips, and we do a lot of trips to Toledo, Cleveland Clinic, and down to Columbus. Our operating budget for operating was $1,883,550. $1,883,550. Capitalized maintenance was a little over $218,000, but our total budget was $2.1 million. We're going to expect that same amount this year, also with it. Our local match, we have to come up for dollar for the federal dollars. Our local match comes from the United Ways. There's 3 United Ways that give to SCAT. The Eagles is very generous with SCAT. Ladies of the Moose, we have the NETS contract through Job and Family Services, which is the non-medical emergency transportation. And churches, donations from families. We have a lot of anonymous donations. We also advertise on our buses for businesses. We're not allowed to do political campaigns. Sorry about that. We got 3 new vehicles this year, which was a little over $167,000. 33,000 of that was for a local match. And with the local match, what I do is I write local grants, like your City Tiffin, the Tiffin Community Center, or Tiffin Community Foundation, organizations, businesses. National Machinery has a grant that we apply for. Old Fort Bank and Gilmore Foundation, Allen Irie and the Columbus Foundation, and Crawford County also sponsored a van a couple years ago. So we try not to use our local money that we need for operating, so we try to write these small grants and get different sponsors to help pay for the vehicles. So, because we have to come up with anywhere from 10 to 20% of all the vehicles with local money. We are looking at a flex route, but that study is not completed yet. That flex route was, I think, $36,000, and SCAT was able to come up with $30,000 to cover the cost through a grant. Well, it was through an operating grant for 2018s. So with that being said, we are applying for our 2020 grant, which is 5311, which is Rural Transit Community Grant, and we're also applying for what they call 5339, which is a facility and bus grant. So with any questions or any comments?
And the action you need from us is specifically?
A letter that says that you concur that we can provide the service for 3 more years from the commissioners. We are not county employees. SCAT is a nonprofit. We are a 501. We're standalone. We're not under any other entity. We're out there by ourselves. But we have to have the funds go through our local government agency.
So I would move that we would sign the Rural Transit Program Guarantee Redesignation and Recommendation for SCAT.
I'll second.
Roll, any discussion? I would just like to say it's a great private-public partnership. We're well represented, and I appreciate the service that you provide to our citizens. Roll call.
Commissioner Stacy?
Yes.
Commissioner Kirschner?
Yes.
Commissioner Towns?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
In your future, thank you for your service to Seneca County. Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, everyone. I'm going back to work now.
Go drive the bus.
Tell them to say hi.
The wheels on the bus go round it.
All right, new business.
Nikki, do you have the information on Tri-County Ditch?
Yeah, we need to do a tri-county ditch hearing. Sandusky County will call us. They'll have Wood County on the phone too, but they were wondering if August 15th at 9:30 would work. Our board session would normally start at 10.
It's okay with me.
Yeah, it's okay with me. How's it?
Holly?
Have a good time.
Jim, you available that day?
I'm sorry.
Are you available that day?
What day was it?
August 15th, Tri-County Ditch hearing.
I'm available.
Okay.
That's why we do it, for the ditch hearings.
Okay, budget adjustments.
Don't actually have any budget adjustments today. I do have a couple other resolutions. We have a resolution establishing the integrated naloxone access and infrastructure funds.
I wonder when that was coming.
And this is at the request of the health department. They must be getting some grant money for some assistance with that, so. I have a resolution setting time, date, and place to receive sealed bids for one 64-passenger yellow school bus on behalf of Seneca County Board of Developmental Disabilities. This will be scheduled for Thursday, August 15th, 2019 at 10:15 a.m. here at the Commissioner's office. And those are all the resolutions I have.
Move for approval.
A second.
Okay, any discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Stacy?
Yes.
Commissioner Kirschner?
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
This also a reminder, next week is the fair. And it looks like we have on the calendar the opening ceremony at 8.
Right.
Monday, yep, the 22nd at 8.
Yeah, I cannot be there.
I'll be there. Okay, we have, do you wanna? We have, ditch hearing at 11:10, and we have a few minutes.
Hey Holly, I just wanted to introduce you to this video today that we put together for you, talk to a few people around the town, and wanted to kind of give a message to you as you head on to this next chapter in your journey. I personally would love to thank you for your hard work and your service to this community, to this county. I think we're better off because you were here. So thank you for all your hard work, and without any further ado, here's the folks from the county.
Good morning, Holly. I was asked to share a few thoughts with you today, and I kind of remember the really first impression I got is when you brought me a jar of Mount Holly pickles, and I remember that for some reason, and I thought that was very kind of you. But probably more seriously and more importantly, when we worked together on the Justice Center, you and I and the mayor, I was very appreciative of the fact that you really took charge and you took care of business. And I think the people of Seneca County have been well served for these 6.5 years as your role of Commissioner of Seneca County. I will certainly miss your knowledge, but more importantly, I will miss your enthusiasm for the people of Seneca County. Whether you live in Tiffin or Old Fort or New Regal, Fostoria, wherever, even Berwick, they should be appreciative of the good job. So I will miss you, and I consider you to be a hero.
Hey Holly, Ken Lee, standing in the Emergency Services Training Center, which you helped make happen. We appreciate that. You and the board, you and the Board of Commissioners, your help and leadership, it got us kind of where we are today. We aren't quite as far as we thought we'd be, but we're a heck of a lot further than we were. So, the 5 joint ambulance districts and the EMS personnel out there in the county have a lot of respect for you, and we appreciate your leadership over the past many years. We sure wish you were staying, but we understand that bigger and better opportunities are out there. We appreciate everything you've done for us, and you can call us anytime. Thank you very much.
Okay, Holly, I wanted to personally wish you the best in your future endeavors. I'm not sure what they are yet. We'll find that out pretty soon. But as you know, I've been here about 5 years now. And we have had some moments that haven't been the greatest, but I think overall, we have respected each other's opinion. And I'm really glad to have been able to work with you and be able to tell people I know you, and I consider you a friend. So I wish you all the best things. I wish you God's blessings. I hope that your new career is fulfilling to you, and I look forward to working with you in anything that you might be involved in with all the commissioners. So enjoy those grandbabies. I know you got another one coming. That's the best thing in life. All the rest of the stuff is just noise, right? God bless you, and stay in touch.
Congratulations, Holly, on the next chapter of your life. It's been a real pleasure to work with you. I've had a great couple of years being your colleague, and Seneca County is better for your participation in county government. I look forward to see how your accomplishments develop over time. I think history will judge you very kindly. Thanks for your service, and I look forward to hearing this next week.
Hey Holly, just want to say congratulations. We've had a wonderful and rocky 6.5 years. Gonna miss you. Please drop off those gallon ice cream jugs at any time. Again, gonna miss you. Good luck, and don't forget us.
Congratulations, Holly. I wish you the best of luck, and thank you for your service here.
Holly, congratulations on your new position. We're very excited for you and from Seneca County. We're very thankful for everything that you've done in Seneca County and your commitment to this county, our agriculture, and all the different departments of this county holds. You will be greatly missed. Your dedication and hard work have prevailed, and your dedication and hard work have rubbed off on so many of us, and we appreciate it. Good luck to your future. Congratulations, and we will miss you. Thank you for everything.
Holly, in a world where there's so much hate, people should really choose kindness, and you, my friend, have certainly done that. Thank you for the time that I've had here with you, and congratulations and God bless.
Hey Holly, it's Julie. Gosh, I don't know what to really say, other than it's been a pleasure working with you these past couple of years. I admire the work you do for the county, the committees that we've served on. You have made a difference. I think you'll bring value to whatever position is in your next half of your life, and wish you the best of luck.
Holly, congratulations on this new exciting chapter of your life. I want to thank you for your support of the juvenile and probate courts over the years. Together with the commissioners, our court has improved the lives of at-risk families in our community. I have always appreciated your willingness to take my call. I know it sounds kind of trivial, but it's been comforting to me to know that I can pick up the phone and call you with my concerns. And I appreciate you always doing that, always listening and helping us out. I truly wish you well and best of luck in your future endeavors. And don't forget about us here at Seneca.
We owed you that one for, bringing.
Jimmy's one in trouble now.
Yeah. Yeah, we have Jimmy to thank.
You should see the editing he had.
You get the PG version?
Yeah, we did cuts.
Okay, so we have a few minutes before our 11:10 ditch hearing, so I'm going to take public comments. I have in the past allowed commissioner candidates to stand up and introduce themselves. We've got Mr. Klein. Introduce yourself.
My name is Jim Klein. I am a candidate to fill the unexpired term of Holly Stacy, and I have to say that these are going to be some awfully big shoes to fill. She's mutually respected, and if I'm fortunate enough to be considered, I will try to live up to the standard that you've set. Thank you for all the hard work you've done. I am circulating a petition. I will be on the ballot in March, and right now it's been a very much of a learning process by coming to these meetings and also talking to constituents during my campaign. I find out that what people are saying on the outside isn't what really is going on in here. And it's been a very it's been a very interesting learning process. Again, thank you, Holly, for your hard work, and I'm hoping to fulfill your position.
Tony
I'll
Paradiso.
go next. I'm Tony Paradiso. Hi, everybody. Holly, thank you for all you've done for the county. I live in Pleasant Township, so Holly and I are we vote at the same place in Old Fort there. And so, thank you for everything. As Jim mentioned, him and I are going at it, and we're friends, and we're gonna fight a clean, positive battle. And I'm really looking forward to the opportunity to serve as commissioner. You know, the county is a much bigger place than Tiffin. And we have villages, and we have townships, and we have Fostoria, and, you know, this is a tremendous responsibility. It's also exciting, you know, to get out into the county, and so I'm really looking forward to that. So, thank you.
Yeah, you find out how big the county is when you have to do a meeting in Big Springs and then, you know, Thompson or something.
Rocky Fostoria.
Right.
Yeah, boy.
It gets big, so. All right, other public comments?
Okay, all right.
Yes.
My name is Joyce Harrison. I'm on the Village Council of Bitsville.
Yep.
Okay, now, are you guys like in charge of all the grants and stuff?
We're in charge of everything.
Unless you have bad news.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you have heard of us over the
Yeah.
past few years, okay, but
Yeah.
I had talked to Charlene, and she says that we are not eligible for the same grants that Tiffin is. And we read the paper every day, and of course, we see the big amphitheater, and we see all this stuff going on downtown and everything. And then the little guys like us, if any grants that we do get, it's always matching funds, which you know by now, small towns don't have any money anymore. And is there anything else available? And we want to know why we're not, can't get the grants that you guys get.
I don't want to lateral this, but I just want to find out where we're at with income surveys and things.
Well,
with
that's
CDBG.
another thing. We're, I think, aren't we? The income survey is the only way to go, pretty much. And we have been around the bend here 3 or 4 times on these, and now they're just telling us our income is none of your business, you know, so.
This is your citizens, your constituents.
Yes, okay. That was.
So the process is you have to have income surveys in order to apply for CDBG money.
Or be income eligible, and the Village of Bettsville, their percentage is way higher for the margin of error than what would validate going and doing another income survey.
Gotcha.
If you're only a few percent plus or minus for margin of error, then the state says, yes, you should go do another income survey just in case. But because they are much more than a couple percent, it doesn't even validate going and doing it. And we have tried to do income surveys for them, and we can't get stuff back.
Just from a nuts and bolts standpoint, you need to know that the commission has emphasized rural communities, has emphasized townships and small villages. Economic development people actually have a designated person who is coming around now, and we haven't had that in the past. So there is recognition of the concern that you have regarding possible grants, et cetera, is on our minds, and any project that you would have, you have some additional assistance now to be able to work with regional planning or work with TSEP to move those forward. So I do think that there's a structure in place right now. Your timing is good, but a lot of the projects you're talking about in Tiffin, they weren't funded by grants.
Well, I've heard that
You know,
too,
they were privately funded,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
there is a difference there.
Also, are you guys the Wolf Creek people too?
We've been called that.
Well, no, I was just wondering who was in charge of that.
Yeah.
They came through there and did all their stuff, but
It's
they
the
left.
engineer, you gotta talk to the engineer.
Really, they left debris everywhere. It just looks terrible from the road and stuff. They've left the logs and brush and branch, everything's just everywhere.
I mean,
And
just
are
a
they going to clean
clarification-
that up or not?
No, actually, just a clarification on that is that the removal is up to out of the floodplain. That's it, that's how it's written. And so any debris that's up and out of this floodplain, it's the property owner's obligation to take care of that. surprised us when we found that out, but that's the way it's written.
So can it be opened up to people just going in and chopping stuff up and
It's
taking?
it's a private landowner issue, it's a property rights issue. So if there's a farmer or landowner that owns a piece of land that has a pile of wood, it would be up to them to either burn it, cut it, or bring people in to take,
Okay.
take care of it.
Okay.
So.
And my last question was,
Sure.
like our park over there, we're struggling mightily with this. And now, we understand that Sandusky County subsidizes White Star, plus they have,
Park District.
Yeah, Park District.
Yeah.
We went to the Park District a couple of years ago to, they said, well, they would take us, but they don't want the water. Well, there we are. What do we do with the water, And is there any recourse that we can get any help towards?
Yeah, I would like to have a conversation with the commissioners, the regional planning, with the village of Bettsville. And
Is
Park
it because
District.
it's like
I think it's a liability issue.
Well, it is. It
So-
is terribly. And
But
we've already
it's a
had.
great service to the community, so I'd like to continue that conversation.
Okay.
But, so we really appreciate you coming in.
Yeah, and one last question, I'm sorry, is my 3 minutes up?
No, you're fine. Yeah.
Your government offices, okay, 8:30 to 4:30. Is there any way you can make one of them stay, or all of them stay open at least one night a week, or something that people that work can get to them? I mean, we've had several complaints about that, so that's all I got to say, okay? But I'm glad you listened to me, because I can really talk.
Thank you. Thank you very much for coming in. We have to make a call. Do you have the number? Do you have the?
It's on here.
Hi, Mr. Ron, how you doing?
What's your last name?
Pardon me? Harrison. Yeah, one of the dreaded Harrisons. Okay.
Whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Hey, Ron, we might have to buy you lunch.
You coming too?
Hello, this is Shane Thomas in Seneca County. We have an appointment.
Yep, one moment, I'll transfer you.
Is this ours or this?
This
We have one, but they have one.
This is Teresa.
Hello, Teresa. Shane Thomas in Seneca County. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I think we have a ditch hearing.
Yes, we do. I have Commissioners Miller, Zimmerman, and Ryder in the room.
Okay. Roll call.
Commissioner Thomas?
Here.
Commissioner Kirschner?
Here.
Commissioner Stacy?
Here.
Commissioner Miller?
Yes.
Commissioner Ryder? Commissioner Zimmerman?
Yes.
All right, we have a resolution we'd like to read.
Sure, I have a resolution, maintenance assessment for collection in 2020, the Seneca and Sandusky Joint County ditches maintained by Seneca County Ditch Maintenance Program. I have the Coon Scabuzzo, 4.4%, Peeler Joint County, 7%, and Parmenter at 8.3%. That's all I have.
Commissioner Kirschner, Seneca County, move for approval.
Second by Miller.
Roll call.
Commissioner Stacy?
Yes.
Commissioner Kirschner?
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Miller?
Yes.
Commissioner Ryder? Yes. Commissioner Zimmerman?
Yes.
Do you guys have anything on your end?
Yes, we have one joint, we have our resolution 2019-225. That's authorizing that the proposed maintenance work for 2019 for Bark Creek Joint County Ditch 673, Barton Group Joint County Ditch 718, FL Cheney Joint County Ditch 752, Indian Creek Joint County Ditch 681, the Stacy Group Joint County Ditch 831, and the Alley Ditch number 091 in Sandusky and Seneca counties. Be approved and submitted by the ditch maintenance supervisor. We have the Bark Creek ditch at 4%, Barton Group at 5.5, FL Cheney at 2%, Indian Creek at 1.5, Stacy Group at 4%, and the Alley ditch at 3%. Motion to approve? Commissioner Commissioner Ryder moved to accept the resolution.
Thomas, second.
Roll call, Commissioner Miller?
Yes.
Commissioner Ryder? Yes. Commissioner Zimmerman?
Yes.
Commissioner Kirschner?
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Stacy?
Yes.
And that's all we have.
Wow, great.
I know. If you could sign the resolution, send over and send it back, I will send over complete approved one for your record.
All right, good. I'll see you guys this afternoon.
You got it.
Yeah.
See ya.
Good one. Thank you.
Okay, all right. We need the new bingo. Government work. All right, we're in public comments. Any other public? Yes, Ron.
My name is Ron Craig. I'm a former resident of Seneca County, and having worked at the local sheriff's office for several years, a former county employee. And I came here today to show my appreciation to Holly for all the years of service that she provided for the county. At one time, I covered these meetings for the Review Times newspaper in Fostoria, and several people I've shared with that, in all those years of journalism, there was never a meeting that I enjoyed covering as much as this body, the county commissioners. You folks are all very dedicated, and while I was here, we had a pretty good time. You maybe heard Shane mention that he may have to buy me lunch, and that was because at that time we had an unwritten rule that if the meeting went past noon, the commissioners had to buy Jimmy and I lunch. So everybody talk it up for another 45 minutes. And speaking of Jimmy and lunches, you still owe me 2 months.
I think the interest is collecting. I probably owe you like 5 months. Nothing.
And that's because Jimmy made some bad sports bets, and that'll teach him for back in the Cleveland Browns, I'll tell you.
That was rough.
All right.
He was just
I'm
early.
a Detroit fan. Anyway, Holly does leave big shoes to fill. I wear size 13s, and hers were bigger than that. I will say I'm glad that your replacement is not someone named Wilson Stacy. It was enough of a problem trying to keep names straight between Holly Stacy and Stacy Wilson that the county didn't need somebody named Wilson Stacy. But anyway, Judge Kelvin and I talked on the phone the other day, and unfortunately he couldn't be here today because he's got court. But we both agreed that if the public knew how much time of her life that Holly has spent doing commissioners and county business. She's on a lot of boards, and spent a lot of nights going to these meetings and things, and I don't think the average citizen knew or understood just how devoted she has been to this county. And regardless of whether you were on the same side of an issue as Holly or not, I am absolutely convinced that Holly has always done what she felt was in the best interest of the majority of the citizens of Seneca County. And in today's days of politics, those people are very hard to find, in my opinion. So thank you very much for your help. 6.5 years is a long time, but again, I want you to know how much I appreciate all the help you were to me. I will tell you that when the meetings were over here, and I had questions, all of the commissioners, including former Commissioner Zoller and Holly, never hesitated to take my phone call when I would have to call them on a cell phone with a question, and Stacy Wilson as well. And so you made my job a lot easier than it could have been, with your help. And I just wanted to thank all of you, but especially thank Holly for her service. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ron.
Other public comments? All right.
I move that we go into executive session for the purpose of
Property acquisition.
property acquisition.
Second.
Second, third.
Roll call.
Whatever.
Commissioner Stacy?
Yes.
Commissioner Kirschner?
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes. All right.
Don't expect any real action.
We don't expect any real action, so if you've got other things